Being a carer is very different from being a mother, and I really want to just be a mother, but it's not possible. I have to be, in many ways, his spokesperson. I'm the one who knows everything about that boy, you know, and at 49, I've learnt a lot. So I feel very responsible for his well-being. My name is Jeanette, and I care for my son who has been diagnosed with acute schizophrenia. I started caring for my son at the age of 18, and now he's 49. But it became very intense when his father died years ago. So I really miss the help and support I got from his dad. Up until 5.5 years ago, because the role was shared, I didn't take it so seriously, but I realised I was a carer well and truly 5.5 years ago. I took the role on myself. And I realised that my son had no one else. In a sense, I've always known I was a carer, but there's nothing like being on your own. It's very real then. During the COVID days and lockdown, I was visiting my son every day, making sure that he had some company, giving him some motivation to at least go walking or to cook something. I have to say that during lockdown and COVID, I did feel like I'd lost myself, that I felt like I was connected to my son really, and there wasn't much else. But I've come out of that now. It was incredibly intense, but on the other hand, it meant he and I became very, very close. I really am very aware of his changing moods, of his intense paranoia, so that I have to deal with phone calls that are not real, but which are real to him. I have to siphon out what is real and what is his actual paranoia. Some days it's very emotionally very draining for me, as it is for him as well, because he's dealing with his own illness. In the mornings, he will often talk about how somebody came in overnight and did things to him during the night, stole things, and I have to just listen and try and assure him it's not real. But that doesn't always work, so we just have to change the subject, and I have to try and concentrate on what he's going to be doing today and going through the day's program. I am human, and some days I find I can't deal with it, but I have to, because I am his carer and I'm it. But I have learnt a lot of ways of improving the situation for me, in that I have to set up boundaries, and I do that now. Being a carer is very different from being a mother, and I really want to just be a mother, but it's not possible. My son can't manage things for himself. He needs me to help him with his workers, with the NDIS workers, with his money, even with the workers now in CCU. I have to be, in many ways, his spokesperson. I'm the one who knows everything about that boy, you know, and at 49, I've learnt a lot. So I feel very responsible for his well-being. He does rely on me, but I am trying very hard now to plan for the future. His father died suddenly. What about if I was to die suddenly? I cannot leave him without any supports. So I'm working very hard now to try to step back, to have more boundaries, and to get him to link in with the community so that should I go, he will manage. And this is my greatest responsibility now. I called Alfred Carer Unit when at one stage, particularly because I wanted some counselling. That's when I first called up, I believe. The counselling for me was at the right time and it helped me enormously. At that stage I was very agitated because I wanted my daughter to help me and I felt very, very alone. The counselling helped me understand that my daughter had a right to her own life and that she was someone who had set up good boundaries. And so from then on, I rethought about my boundaries and let go of that whole idea that my daughter was also responsible for my son. It's actually improved our relationship enormously and she is very supportive of me. I have more skills, I would say, in knowing how to look after myself. I actually have a good life. I've learnt to do a lot more extra things, and so that's what I mean by having boundaries. I go to the gym now, I do meditation, I do yoga, I go off, have lunch, lunches with friends, and yet in that same day I will still talk to my son a couple of times on the phone. I may pop in and see him, but I feel that I've got a balance now and I feel loads better. As a carer, it's taken me out of, I suppose I'd say like a middle class sort of attitude that everything is perfect and nice. And I've learnt that life is much more complicated than that. I've met some amazing people and I'm actually grateful for some of the opportunities I've had so that I perhaps become a little bit more compassionate about other people in this world. I didn't really know anything about mental illness until I went on this journey. I'd grown up probably, even though I'd been to college and been to university, it wasn't something that was part of my life. I guess I heard about people who had a breakdown, but I knew nothing about schizophrenia. So I've been on a huge learning curve and I don't regret it. I think it's been good for me to learn. I want to say to carers that you can have a balanced life. You can have a life whereby you're supporting a son or a daughter, or mother or father, but you can also look after yourself and put time aside to do caring activities. In fact, I say that's the only way to get through this. Because if you go and see a movie, for example, then maybe on the way home you call on your son or daughter, you've had a balance where you've looked after yourself, you've done something for them. I guess it's all about setting up like your boundaries. You'll give so much time to them and you'll give so much time to yourself. And that's how it works for me. I have to say that I am not unhappy. I understand I am a carer and I have a responsibility to my son, but I actually have a good life. I feel that I've learnt a lot and I am able to have, I feel like I'm living in balance now in that I do both. It's a journey, but it's not an unhappy one. Some days are better than others, and you just have to ride through the good and the bad days. But I'm okay.